Hey guys, this week's project is a plushie from the animal kingdom, one of the most dangerous animals in fact, which I hope will translate into an equal amount of cuteness. I'm doing a very short introduction for this one because I've had several long projects in a row that I'm working on anyway, but I just want the rest and do this one quick and simple. So anyway, I'm just going to be making a Hippogurumi. Let's get into it. I wanted a monochromatic palette for this one, so I settled on several shades of purple. I came across this gorgeous velvet chenille yarn at the weekend.
Cool whip, yeah.
I came across this gorgeous velvet chenille yarn at the weekend and I wanted an excuse to use it in a project straight away. I also used other items for this project, but as always, I will list all of the materials I used in the description box below. Beginning with the dark purple, I started to crochet the body, increasing the stitches with each round. I didn't start with the legs this time because obviously I'm having him in a sitting position, and by him I mean obviously Pierre, because Pierre's the hippo. If you can think of a different name, then by all means go ahead. But this time I'm starting with the body. When I got to the size I wanted, I was ready to add the legs. As I mentioned earlier, I'm having my hippo in a sitting position, so I made the legs a little longer than the real ones. Yes, hippos are stumpy boys, and I began with the double knit yarn for the pads of the feet before switching to the lighter purple for the rest of the leg. I also wanted my hippo to be wearing shorts, and since I'll be crocheting the legs shut with no armature wire inside, I crocheted the shorts separately and added them on like a sleeve. From here I lightly stuffed the leg, made another one of them and set them aside to be crocheted onto the main body later on. Once both my legs were done, I crocheted them directly into the next row of the body with the darker purple, crocheting together through all 5 layers, and once they were firmly attached, I then carried on up the body until I needed to install the arms. I made the arms pretty much in the same way I made the legs, by starting off with the double knit yarn before switching to the chenille yarn. Again, I lightly stuffed them, ready to be installed. When I first started this project, I wanted this to be a true plushie, so no wire at all, but I just simply cannot resist having poseable arms. It may be a weakness, but instead of wire I went for some pipe cleaners, which I twisted together to build up some strength and to make them long enough to go through both arms. Thinking back on it now, the pipe cleaners was really not the best idea. I mean, okay, yeah, it's functional, it works, but it really doesn't hold its shape and it might as well not be there. But well, as Pierre would say, c'est la vie. I don't know why this hippo's French. But anyway, with the arms installed, I went ahead and finished off most of the head off camera. Okay, this is slightly different than normal because I don't usually have noses on my amigurumi, but because you've seen me do this type of closure before, this is slightly different. So I left the opening at the top of the head because I wanted to finish off a few things first before installing the eyes. And because the placement of the eyes is dependent on his snout and nostrils and nose, which my normal amigurumi don't have, I needed to leave the space to be able to check the position of the eyes with the snout. So you will see me do that later on. That's just my little caveat that I'm adding at this point. For the snout, I started with an oval shape and increased the stitches in each round until I reached a size I thought looked right for the head I'd already made. I then stuffed the snout before finally attaching it onto the head. Now that the snout was in place, I could at last position the eyes and fix them into place before closing up the head. Pierre the plushie hippo is a dapper hippo, and what is more dapper than dungarees? To make these from a square panel using dark purple yarn, I chained some straps at 2 of the corners so that they could be sewed onto the back of the shorts. Then I sewed the panel onto the front part of the shorts, placed the straps across the shoulders and across them at the back before sewing them into place. Finally, I then added buttons and an applique patch to complete the dungarees. Oh, so cute! Using the double knit yarn, I made a small circle and then also made a slightly larger circle with the chenille yarn. I then attached those two together to create one of the nostrils. When that was done, I obviously made a second one and attached them onto the snout. I did the exact same process for the ears, but slightly larger. So again, I made the 2 smaller circles with the double knit yarn and then another set of 2 larger circles with the chenille yarn. Layering those together, I sewed them onto the head as well. So guys, while you watch me finish up some sewing and before we get to the reveal, I'd just like to say thank you for watching, and of course if you'd like to see more, then please like, share, comment and even consider subscribing. If you are feeling generous, then also please consider buying me a cup of coffee on Ko-fi. The link to my Ko-fi page will be included in the description box below, and any and all donations will be greatly appreciated. Also, don't forget to hit that bell button to be notified whenever I upload a new video. Anyway, enjoy the beauty shots and the hippo shots and the Pierre shots, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!